you like to interpret matters of investment is that the High Court in Nairobi has ordered the government to reveal the contents of the Adani deals despite its cancellation. In a ruling issued by Justice Bahati Wamuye on Wednesday, the government has been directed to give documental proof that the deals had been cancelled, even as Adani Group sought to withdraw from proceedings, citing its cancellation. Our reporter Joseph Wahungu tells us more.
Noting also the strong public interest in the subject matter and the status of the subject airport, it is just that in the interim, conservatory orders be issued to not only preserve the substratum of the petition, but also to allow for an orderly progression of the matters before this court.
That was Justice Bahati Wamuye's directive to the government a week after the president order for the cancellation of the controversial Adani Group's proposed takeover of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. In his ruling Wednesday at Milimani Law Courts, the High Court judge also gave the state a period of up to January 25, 2025 to produce proof of the cancellation of the deal. He also issued an order blocking Adani and any other entity from taking over JKIA pending the determination of the matter before the court.
The respondents shall, in their responses to the application and the amended petition, adduce evidence on the question of any alleged cancellation or rejection of the impugned concession agreements and head of terms. Rejoinder by the petitioners within 14 days of the lapse of the time for responses.
The ruling followed a petition by Tony Gashoka and Mount Kenya jurists dubbed the People Against Adani Group attempted takeover of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. The petitioners insisted that there must be accountability on those who initiated the challenged projects before the matter is wished away.
The petitioners are also saying in the petition, JKIA in the first place is not available for leasing to foreigners under whatever guise.
So we need to know what actually was cancelled. All this is not before you, my Lord, and we look forward to interacting with that situation once it is placed before you.
During the cases, lawyers representing Adani Group informed the court of their desire to be excused from the proceedings. A week after the government's decision to cancel Adani deals with Getraco and JKIA, the matter seems far from over, with the High Court now set to give further directions come January 2025. Reporting for KBC Channel 1 from Milimani Law Courts, I'm Joseph Wahungu.
And that particular move there has set tongues wagging, especially on social media platforms, with lawyers pitting against each other. Like, why should we have the contents of a deal that has already been cancelled? Some proponents saying that it is good to know exactly what was contained in that particular deal. For better, they say information is power. Well, we'll be keeping tabs on that particular development. Now, Tana River Senator Danson Mungatana has withdrawn the religious regulation bill, which has faced a backlash from a section of religious leaders. The senator says the decision to withdraw the bill followed a wider consultation between religious and political leaders. Subsequently, the clergy has welcomed the move, calling for more engagement in regulating religious institutions.
Former chair of Senate Task Force on Chakahola killings and the sponsor of the proposed church regulation bill, Senator Danson Mungatana, has withdrawn the said bill on grounds of mutual agreement with the religious leaders.
We shall take a step back, seek a wider stakeholder engagement so that we walk this process together. But as it stands now, I wish to confirm that we have written to the Speaker to withdraw this bill. Thank you.
Mungatana noting that the withdrawal of the bill will foster open dialogue between the government and the religious institutions as they look for appropriate course of action.
Kumekuwa malalamishi pale na pale kwamba kuna stakeholders ambao wamejisikia wameachwa nje, lakini sisi tunataka kutembea pamoja ili wale ambao sio wazuri na wanatumia dini vibaya tuwaweke mahali pao.
The move was welcomed by the clergy, who also agreed to withdraw cases they had filed in court challenging the bill.
On the matter of ongoing court cases linked to the Mungatana bill, we have pursued alternative dispute resolution, ADR, mediation, and other diplomatic channels to resolve disputes amicably.
The two parties have now agreed to form a self-regulation task force that will develop a comprehensive framework for self-regulation.
Na pia tunasimamia uhuru wa kuabudu Kenya, na tunashukuru pia rais mwenyewe alitamka na kinywa chake akasema kanisa lenyewe lipange vile litajisimamia.
Na kwa hivyo tunaomba mtuunge mkono viongozi wote wa makanisa, viongozi wa kidini. Hii jambo hatulifanyi kwa kanisa pande moja, tunafanya kwa makanisa yote nchini Kenya.
The Mungatana bill, among other requirements, sought to compel churches to pay taxes on income, gifts or profits generated from lawful activities unless the revenue is entirely allocated to charitable causes.
Critics have said that that is riddled with political undertones. What's your take in regard to that particular move? Get us on X at KBC Channel 1. Now, still looking at matters of governance, a stalemate between the National Assembly and the governors now threatens to stall the release of 61 billion shillings to the counties. The Mediation Committee on the County Government Additional Allocation Bill fails to agree on additional funds to the counties amid a court case filed by governors over the denial by the National Assembly to release road maintenance levy funds amounting to 10 billion shillings. The MPs are now threatening to ground negotiations with senators on the crucial bill that also provides for monies for the payment of community health promoters.
The Mediation Committee on County Government Additional Allocation Bill held its first meeting seeking to find an agreement on amount of additional funds to be devolved to the counties. The mediation coming after two houses passed contradicting figures, the Senate allocating 61 billion shillings, while the National Assembly reduced the amount to 46 billion shillings. Members of the National Assembly demanding governors withdraw the case they filed in court, challenging the National Assembly's move to deny the road maintenance levy fund amounting to 10.5 billion shillings before the negotiations begin, a position that senators objected.
The county government, through the Council of Governors, withdraw that court case and we proceed. So I doubt this is a matter that we can conclusively conclude today.
Supposing this committee do not agree, so what happens? That's one. Second, supposing we agree, and when we table in the National Assembly, the plenary does not agree and it fails, then what happens?
Now, if we were to make an assumption or an argument that without an additional allocation act in Kenya, the national government can continue disbursing from the center, we are essentially killing devolution and the philosophy and the spirit of devolution.
The Road Maintenance Levy Fund is among 8 funds provided for in the County Government Additional Allocation Bill 2024. Others are allocation for the payment of community health promoters, allocation for county aggregation industrial park, and allocation of construction of county headquarters in 5 counties, among others.
The National Assembly is making proposals that are guided by the budget that we approved, so that we do not find ourselves in a situation where we are saying we are denying the county this money.
The senators taking issue with their counterparts from the National Assembly for attempting to collapse the bill that may lead to a cash crunch at the counties.
I seem to be picking a political search for a way of having the thing to collapse and then monies are not disbursed.
Besides scrapping 10.5 billion shillings road maintenance levy fund allocation, the members of the National Assembly reduced the allocation for community health promoters to 2.5 billion shillings from 3.2 billion shillings. The National Assembly also reduced the budget for county aggregation industrial parks by 2.5 billion shillings.
One of the ways you might want to consider is for the Kenya Kwanza government to openly pronounce itself and say it is no longer interested in industrial parks. People will understand. It is no longer, we can no longer deliver on the promise we gave on these CHVs so that people can understand.
We all support devolution. Members of the National Assembly, members of the Senate, we have done it through action.
The Council of Governors has, however, maintained it will not withdraw the case.
Now, still on governance and a bit of health, is that Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union has ordered intern doctors to withdraw their services from their respective health facilities, citing failure by the government to pay their salaries. KMPDU at the same time threatened to go on strike beginning next month to compel the government to honor the collective bargaining agreement. CBA, led by KPMDU Secretary General Davji Atela, the doctors attributed the recent deaths of intern doctors to job-related stress and unpaid salaries.
What about the Kenyans who are then going to lose their lives or complicate when you go on strike? So today I want to invite Kenyans to come and join us on this strike come December.
Tell our junior doctors, our colleagues, we are mindful about your welfare. Stay at home until the government remembers it has a duty to the people. And as seniors, we are coming to join you at home, because that's the only way the government has to be nudged to action.
That ought to be implemented, that the interns ought to be paid before we resume duties, that the doctors ought to be paid monies owed to them before we resume duty. We will not be going on strike and asking to sit down and negotiate. We will be going out and asking to have the outcomes seen before we resume duties, because the government seems not trustworthy anymore.
Now, the Akamba community has formally been included into the Gema community. Elders drawn from the Agikoyo, Embu and Ameru communities met their counterparts at a meeting in Nairobi that endorsed the formal inclusion of the Lower Eastern region into the political bloc. The meeting denied any political motivations into the latest move, political undertones in the meeting, and the presence of key political figures in the Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka's party pointed to the realignments happening in the vote region. Elders called for a quick reconstitution of the IEBC and the fulfillment of the promise made by the Kenya Kwanza administration to the region.
It goes way beyond any short-term practical interests. And the Akamba have been integrated in Gema as members of the community, not members of a political party or a political formation. If anybody wants to talk about Kalonzo, you can only say, since Kambas have come in and become members of Gema, when Kalonzo comes now to Mount Kenya, he's not a stranger, he's in his family.
That we recognize we have a government that was constitutionally elected. We have the respect for people. No, Kenyans are suffering. And that's why we said we need a unity of purpose.
We appreciate and we call any other people to join us so that we unite Kenya. All that we are saying today, let Kenya come together.
Is what does it require, or what does it take for a community to join another community? Well, maybe that is matters of politics that are going to be totally, I think, dissected as we proceed to the weekend, and most likely on Monday we'll have gotten what the political pundits have to say in regard to that latest move. Delving into matters business, policy harmonization across African states is a key to accelerating industrialization and enabling the continent to scale up production through special economic zones. State Department for Industry Principal Secretary Dr. Juma Mkhwana says establishment of special economic zones will ensure the continent is promoting value addition to its vast raw materials that are currently exported.
Africa accounts for 18% of the world's population but contributes only 3% to global manufacturing. By contrast, the European Union, with just 6% of the global population, commands a 22% share in manufacturing. Stakeholders attending the African Special Economic Zone's annual meeting are advocating for establishment and expansion of SEZs across the continent as a catalyst for industrial growth and transformation of the continent from an exporter of raw materials to a supplier of finished goods.
Make Africa the place to invest and the place to harness all our resources and create an industry through SEZ.
But the challenge that we have is that while other people are discussing about the fourth industrial revolution, this industrialization has forgotten to visit Africa. So the question that we have asked ourselves, can Africa partake and participate in the fourth industrial revolution?
With the continent's population projected to reach 2.5 billion by 2050, collaboration among policymakers and financial institutions, they say, will be key to leverage Africa's demographic dividend to drive economic growth.
Part of what we need are affordable, accessible, strategically located special economic zones that then can kick off an industrial revolution.
The three-day conference bringing together industry experts and policymakers is also set to forge cross-border partnerships to scale up infrastructure and attract increased foreign direct investments.
For the first time, Kenya is hosting that particular conference where B2B as well as other networking platforms have been availed, with over 400 delegates drawn from 48 countries in attendance. It is happening at the iconic KICC there, and today we're expecting none other than President William Ruto as a chief guest to just maybe point at why Kenya is indeed an ideal investment destination. We'll be headed there in not too long and bring you up to speed with the deliberations of the conference today. Now we cross over to sports, where Kenya's women national team, Harambee Starlets, are in Morocco ahead of two friendly matches against Morocco B on Friday at the Mohammed Football Complex Stadium. Head coach Beldin Odemba traveled with a squad of 21 players, among them Elizabeth Ochaka and Christine Athiembo, who played in the Under-17 FIFA Women World Cup in the Dominican Republic. The team will play the first match on Friday at 8 p.m, while the second match will take place Tuesday next week. The friendly matches are crucial for Starlets as they aim to build on their recent performance in the Pink Ladies tournament in Turkey.